So that was my first reaction to the first plant that I'm showing you in my Maranta and Calathea haul and unboxing. I got all of 3 plants from Etsy, just to let you know up front. Some were familiar sellers to me, people I've gotten plants from before. Others were new to me or newer to Etsy, and I'm going to put all of that seller information in the box below. Though some of the plants did sell out before I could get this video up, so for that I am sorry, but it is worth checking back with some of these shops because sometimes they do get new shipments of the plants in. So this first plant that I'm unboxing is a Variegated Maranta Leuconeura. And while I love pretty much all of the plants from the prayer family, so the Marantaceae family, I only actually own 2 types. So I own Marantas and Calatheas, and this is actually only my second Maranta because if you watch my channel, you know I really, really love Calatheas. They're my ride or die houseplant. So when I saw this Maranta in pictures on Etsy, I fell in love with it. I had that reaction you heard at the beginning. I actually gasped. And this plant completely exceeded my expectations from the pictures. As soon as I got this packaging off, I literally launched over the moon. I was just on cloud 9. It is still resting and acclimating to my house, but it arrived in really good health. And with all prayer plants, one of the things that I've noticed is that if they're shipping from outside of the state that I live in, and I live in California, their movements are usually affected when they arrive. So, being heliotropic and nyctinastic, their leaves, rise up completely at night and then let themselves fully down during the day. And what I've noticed is that even though this plant did ship really quickly and it was very well packaged, as you can see, the soil was still damp. It was really in amazing health for the journey that it made here. I would say that movement doesn't regain its kind of normal function. I want to say it's about usually 36 to 48 hours. And so what I did is after getting this completely unpackaged, I left it here. This is kind of an area where you often see me unbox for my videos. Well, for me, it's also where I acclimate plants. This is a really good spot. It's between 2 very large eastern windows, and there's no direct light, but there's a lot of bright filtered light that comes in, and so it is a good spot for the plants to acclimate to my house, to the humidity, to the temperature, and just kind of relax. So I would say in about another week, I think I'll be able to repot this Maranta. And just another note, I did see a Maranta like at Lowe's, a variegated Maranta just like this, but it looked nothing like this. I saw it just after I'd placed an order for this one, and I was kind of bummed at first. But when I got this plant in the mail, there is no comparison. This plant is a total head turner, and I'm beyond pleased. I really kind of patted myself on the back a little bit because I felt like I made a really good choice. And again, when I saw the pictures of this plant on Etsy, those pictures were amazing. That's what made me click purchase now. But let me tell you, the actual variegation on this plant is so much more beautiful in person. And I don't know how well, I think that you're seeing it here pretty well being captured, but the plant that I saw at Lowe's, it had nothing on this plant. The least variegated leaf on this plant is pretty much what the entire plant looked like. So thumbs up for me. I was very pleased with this plant. The second plant, Fragile, Handle with Care, I do not think that USPS took that to heart. However, this was the second plant again to arrive, and this is my Calathea Maui Queen. And I lost a Maui Queen that I rescued a couple of years ago. I lost it to spider mites. When I bought it, it was already in really bad shape, and when the spider mite breakout took hold in my house, it was just recovering. It had about 5 to 6 new leaves, and they got just decimated by the spider mites. And at that point, I was still really experimenting, and honestly, I still am with indoor pest management. So it did take a while. However, when I did feel ready, and I think it's funny how emotional it was for me, I guess that I can get pretty torn up about my plants. Maybe some of you can relate to that. I couldn't find a Maui Queen. However, I started looking in late July, and there were a few sellers on Etsy who had Maui Queens. So I went ahead and placed an order after looking through a few of them and knowing what I wanted. Here it is in all of its glory. It does have one marred leaf that looks like maybe it might be from shipping, or it might have been maybe like a little burn on the leaf and the shipping exacerbated it. However, regardless, that's one minor little flaw, and this plant is as well just a shameless stunner. It has beautiful deep green leaves, and its pattern, right? That's what the Calathea is kind of known for, is having these patterned leaves, this foliage that's just really striking. This is really simple. It's kind of sophisticated in its simplicity. It's just this single pattern down the center of the leaf. It looks very effortless. It's intricate. And it does kind of echo other patterns that you will see on different Calathea. This one's just cool. It's very understated. And the underside of the leaves on this plant, like other Calatheas, but not all, has that purplish hue, though it's not as that kind of block of color that you might see on a Rosio picta. It is still nice when they raise their arms and as they begin moving during the day to kind of catch that contrasting purple, because if you think about the color wheel and about contrasting colors, where you would find green and purple on that wheel, in their kind of juxtaposition with each other, it really is a striking combination. And it is, for me, just more purple than sort of the plum that you might find on the underside of a Rosio picta. I don't know how long that, in some Calatheas, that underside coloring does fade as the plant matures. And with the Maui Queen, to be honest, I'm not sure. I only had the first Maui Queen for about 6 months before the spider mite infestation kind of broke out and took it down. So I don't know in full maturity if that sticks around. However, as you can see close up, I'm sure that pattern you see in the center of the leaf might remind you of what you find on I'm going to bungle the pronunciation, but the Variegated, I believe. Even on a Maranta, that kind of pattern that goes down the center, you'll see the same on a silhouette or a medallion. And it also has a little bit of that ripple to the leaf like you might see in the Ruffibarba, but not quite, and not the same texture. And this also isn't a fuzzy plant like the Ruffibarba is. That has very fine hairs, very velvety hairs everywhere. However, this leaf it's smoother, and some are glossy, others look a little bit matte. And so I'm not sure if they start glossy and then kind of matten up as they mature. But I'm really excited to learn and see what it's like when a plant like this does fully mature in my house. Now, the third plant that I got was clearly marked from the plant farm, who I've definitely ordered from before, to handle it with care. However, USPS, despite the fact that I arranged to make sure that people were home when I knew this plant was arriving, because this is a wish list plant, they put it in my mailbox. And so as soon as I got a notice that it had been delivered, I immediately raced to get it out of the mailbox ASAP. And as soon as I touched the cardboard box, I felt how warm it was, and I was not happy. Seriously, USPS, come on. You don't want to put a live mailbox into, a live plant into a mailbox when it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit outside that day. Anyway, the soil was quite warm as well, so I was worried. But this is commonly known as the Calathea Whitestar, and I was absolutely... I don't have a word for what I felt when I saw this for sale, because I've been looking for this plant for a very long time. And in North America, it's rare to see this getting sold. I don't know why. You see it a lot more in Europe. And to be honest, when I see this plant in videos, or when I did see it, I would get a little bit angry. I'd get jealous. I'd get salty because I wanted one of these plants and I wasn't able to get one here. I couldn't even find someone at that time to ship it to me from overseas. And I've definitely done that, and will continue to do that with plants when I can't find them here. However, I put this plant to rest in the spot where I put all of them and to kind of cool down and to relax. And I think that it's fine despite having really been left in heat that it shouldn't have been. It also even has, when I was adjusting the soil, I felt this little piece of new growth. So I was like, oh no, I hope you can see it there. Realized how careful I needed to be while I was securing the soil again. The soil was damp and it cooled pretty quickly to about 70 degrees. So I was happy with that. And again, I think the plant will recover. So again, commonly this is known as the Whitestar. Sometimes you see it labeled as a Majestica. There's this journal article, Calathea ornata and relatives, an ornate confusion. There's a lot of confusion around naming of plants that have this sort of same pattern, the distinctive sort of lines along the lateral veins of the leaves. And so I can't say anything other than I am thrilled to have it. This year I've knocked out 2 of my wish list plants, the Calathea dotty and the Calathea Whitestar. So this has really been a stellar year for me. There's still the Calathea Rosy or Calathea Crimson and the Calathea Flamestar that are on my wish list. If you happen to see any of those for sale with shipping or who are already in North America, I'd be really happy if you left me a comment. And I do have 2 Calatheas that are still coming to me. So be sure to check out that video in the near future. Because again, it's going to feature another wish list plant. And I am probably going to be doing an updated Calathea collection video here in the fall, as a lot in my Calathea collection has changed for better and for worse. So if there's anything else that you want to see, let me know in the comments. And until next time, be well and take care.